Time. Maybe I should put on this. This. You're welcome on Blackwood Fire Network. Good evening. From Kampala, Uganda. This is African Maria with my colleague INNOSSETU. Today is a Thursday, by the way. Imagine ogenda. So, of course, today's topic is about child soldiers in Africa. This is quite an upside situation where children are trained to kill without fear whatsoever. Nkyagaya kawo masobola kwemanyi wampisa shaka bimiro oba oyagala oba toyagala ngamire wakira obwomi bwange bugende wava muno so kiki mubba public service ewandeke yawo lwa balinnya biki yamukubye teki tabayansi naye wano ng'atambula tabateki tebamuse muzungu oba kiyindi tebakisse soko kireko twaba kinasituka akisitudde n'akituuza. The crime getting too common in Kampala, no one is safe. Munyanya. Mbu omuntu oyo asamba bw'ati abantu akasamba mu ngeri y'emu. Ajja mukwata naawe. There is a video where I saw him. He kicked, but I think oli yamutta. And he's a professional. And this is why they were arresting a lot of training clubs. You remember that time? Because a lot of trained people were murdering, committing crimes. Muzungu, that one is not an Indian. Anyway, sorry, we were watching a very sad video here. And yeah, so back to the topic. Child soldiering or child soldiers in Africa is a very common situation that has happened with almost by the half of the Africa's population. Uganda among them. We had the frozen.
Yeah.
I thought it was March because I wasn't seeing free. So we can child soldiers not put it every day. Get up.
We made.
Now, children soldiers in Africa refers to the military use of children under the age of 18 by national armed forces or other armed groups in Africa. Now, typically, this classification includes children serving in non-combatant roles such as cooks or messengers. And by the way, a lot of children are used as messengers because they are trusted.
I remember when I was growing up, like there were, I remember there was a kid. The kid was between 5 years and 7 years, around there. They used to use this kid to steal. They throw him inside the house. He starts selling whatever. He opens the door, like if at all they push him inside the house, he opens the door for these thieves. They steal everything.
You can imagine. You can imagine someone using children to commit crimes. It is the same with of course, this child soldiering in Africa. We know that in 2008 it was estimated that 40% of child soldiers worldwide were in Africa. That means Africa as a continent, it has the biggest. Together, because if 40% worldwide belongs to Africa, if the 40% of the world population of child soldiers belongs to Africa, that means Africa has the biggest population or the biggest percentage of child soldiers. And of course, the use of child soldiers in armed conflicts was increasing faster than any other continent. Now we know that average age of children recruited as soldiers appears to be decreasing. But of course, as of 2017, the United Nations listed that 7 out of 14 countries recruiting and using child soldiers in state forces or armed groups were in Africa. For example, those in the Central African Republic, now that one is commonly known, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mali, Nigeria, of course, Somalia, South Sudan, and of course, Sudan. And we know that the number of child soldiers in Africa is not known, but partly due to the inaccessibility of some regions, we know there are a high number of unregistered births in several African nations, making it difficult to estimate the number of child soldiers in certain countries. We've seen this last time, except I don't know. There is, but I know that we may not be able to share this video. But maybe INNOSSETU will try and get us a video on TikTok, since videos on TikTok do not violate YouTube issues. We know that we have a lot of young children in military forces. And by the way, if you remember, Uganda is not included now because it no longer does that. For you to be able to join the army now, you should be 18 and above. But when the president of Uganda was coming into power, we know he had kadogos. He had a lot of children in his rebel group. But he says that these children were given to him by the parents who were in support of course, change in Uganda. But in 2004, child soldiers internationally estimated that 100,000 children were in use on the African continent. Now, in 2008, an academic estimate put the total of 1,020 children, or 40% of the global total of child soldiers. So we know that the percentage of child soldiers as a proportion of all combatants ranges widely throughout conflicts in the continent from 0% to 53%. Now, in 2007, it was estimated that approximately 35,500 children were being used for military purposes in Africa's most intense conflicts in North Sudan, that's Darfur, Southern Sudan, Central African Republic, and Nigeria. According to the UN in 2016, children were being used by armed groups in 7 African countries. Like I said, the Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Mali, Nigeria, Somalia, South Sudan, and by the state armed forces in, of course, 3 countries, which is, of course, now the state armed forces, like the state, that's the government. Somalia uses young children, Sudan, and also South Sudan. They use young children in their forces. That means children who are not yet 18 years. And of course, there is a lot of estimation when it comes to these children. But we know that child soldiers are seen by armed groups as expendable and cheap to maintain. Other factors include global proliferation of light automatic weapons, all right, which children can easily handle. Now, these children are like, of course, they are seen as expendables because they die, nobody questions, all right? Nobody's going to question, and these children are easy to handle. They can be trained. Imagine when you, they can be trained, and the doctrination is, stiff. And also these children, you know, when you take, let me say, like a 5-year-old, and you start grooming this child, these are children who end up becoming so strong-hearted that they don't even fear. There is a video. You remember when the Somalis, of course, attacked a Ugandan camp. There is a video where I saw a young child. He was like 5. Uh, What's up, people? All is well today. Hey, Williams. Thank you for joining. Listening at work, busy day. Keep on hustling. And we wish you the best. And thank you for being here despite the busyness. Thank you. I saw this young child who cut a Ugandan soldier's throat like a goat. Omusajja yakabangama naye ng'omwana musala myaka emeka, something like 6 years. They told they have machetes, whatever, but this little boy on camera, he was given a machete to slaughter. These other grown-up rebels were holding this soldier. He was a strong guy. You could see from the pictures. He was dark-skinned, so energetic. And this boy, you know how some Somali Moratos look like. So there was this Muzungu who was speaking typical Arabic. All right, he was so light, and he was speaking typical Arabic. He didn't even know how to speak the Somali language because these other people were speaking Somali language, but for him, he was even speaking Swahili. He was speaking Swahili, he speaks Arabic, and then he speaks Swahili. So he held this man and gave this young 6-year-old boy a machete, and they held the soldier's head. And this little boy, without fear, he cut like a goat. Blood splashed on this little boy's face, 6 years old, and he was cutting this man with nothing. When I was 6 years, I was afraid of blood. Now, to be serious, I can't remember when I stopped, because I would look at blood and I'm like, yo! I make a lot of noise. I ran to my mom, and I can't remember when I stopped fearing blood. But I even fear blood when I see it coming from someone else. And this is why I couldn't become a medical personnel. Growing up, my mom always, oh, she has to do work stuff, because she's in a medical fraternity. And for her, she believed, since I'm the only daughter, I will have to follow her steps. I fear blood. Oh. I cannot. There is a way, first of all, looking at a very deep wound, it causes me trauma. Looking at blood oozing from someone, it causes my body, my heart to tremble. And then this is a 6-year-old boy who cuts, and then the entire blood, I think he cut the aorta, whatever. Blood was splashing on this boy's face, and he was continuously cutting this man until he was told to stop. What do you think this child is going to be when he grows? Because at that age, if this child is not scared, what is this child going to fear? Because until now, I'm someone who fears dead bodies. Okay, you cannot just tell me somebody has died over there. Okay, you can see that I'm traumatized. I have that trauma. I just picture how is this person going to be looking like. Okay, so if at my age I'm even afraid of a dead body, then this little boy is taking someone's life without fear. That means this child has been traumatized. And as they were killing this child, as this child was killing this man, the guy who was, of course, instructing was telling him, these people are the reasons why you cannot watch TV. Okay?
And by the way,
Can you imagine?
little kids
So the child is like, okay, so you're the reason why I can watch TV. These people are the reason why you cannot go and play soccer with other children. These people are the reasons why you're not with your mom. Like they're the ones who had trained this boy to be a bush boy or a rebel. These people are the reason. So the boy was cutting. The more he was talking, the boy was, slaughtering this man, because he knows this man is the reason why he cannot watch TV, he cannot play games. he cannot go to the pitch. Is the reason why this boy cannot meet his parents. Is the reason why he cannot talk to his mom. He's the reason why you have to stay here. So the boy is killing someone he knows is an enemy. Now, children are there is that innocence children usually have. And this is why I say it is easier to groom a child than a child who has grown. Because a child you grew, if these people were able to change the mentality of this child, it will take forever for this child not to hate those other people. Right? So he was groomed. These people didn't give birth to this child. Probably they kidnapped this child at a young age, but he was groomed. Of course, K. Williams says they give those little kids drugs in order for them to kill.
Africa is like a house. For instance, Kenya is a sitting room, Uganda is a bedroom, there is another bedroom, etc. Why then does one need permission to move within the house? There is no need for visas to travel anywhere in Africa. It should not happen.
They traumatize those little kids for life. Of course, K. Williams, I do agree with you 100%. So these children are like, killing is your means of survival. And you are promised that when you kill, then you will be able to meet with other children. They will be able to buy you a PS
Yogurt.
All right. Mirabuka. Come, Dad, have you got Uga? You want to check the bag. Dad, what did you go and say last time? You have not got Uga. Why?
Mwana nkwata omusango.
I thought you brought your cat.
There are a bunch of cowards using little kids to kill the people.
Instead of fighting the real enemy. True. Now, if at all,
And they know that these kids, they can't, of course, survive for a long time in a war because they are killed. They keep on recruiting. I've never seen any rebel group that has, apart from these top generals, they are ever kids for life. They keep on recruiting because they kill them. If someone misbehaves, if these kids misbehave, they kill them.
And then we have some,
and that creates traumatization within these kids.
And then we have some of them. I don't know if maybe I should whisper. But we have some of them who, when they grow at a certain age, they let them out to the, of course, to the public. And these people usually they join the army. They go through training and they join in the army. And later, they're the ones even who keep on spying. And some of them we've seen like these Islamic groups. Afterwards, remember they teach you Islamic as they are teaching you these other things. They send you to a mosque to be ashamed. Now they turn to be recruiters and they are messengers and the people who are and of course they are informers. So this, because it takes strength. You cannot just wake up and then decide that INNOSSETU will have captured you. You are going to be an informer. These are the young children. When they grow to be adults now, they put them out there
to be shame.
What's talking everything you're telling me about?
So that is how, of course, kids have been used. And actually, when we look at the recent attack in of course in the recent attack, is it in Mozambique? Which country is that? The recent attack. Waliwo attack yabaddewo hours ago. Okay. Yeah, this Islamic State. There is a,
yeah, the other one I heard you talking about. That's good to hear, John. Where'd you do
I was reading news somewhere, but there is a recent attack of the Islamic State, where, of course, the attack was recorded to be saying kids are fighting. Kids fighting. I mean, like the kids were reported fighting in this attack of the Islamic State. So a lot of kids have been used over years. Even we have seen a lot of nowadays I see some people trying to come out in Uganda to, of course, ask the government of Uganda to pay for what they did during the liberation war in 1980, 1986, when, of course, the current government of Uganda was fighting, was in bush. I've seen a lot of grown up men and women coming out like, you have to pay us. We were once the Kadogos, the kids in the war, so they want to be compensated for whatever. Even the kids of these people that were killed in the war as Kadogos, as the young kids that were used to fight the NRM liberation war in Uganda, of which it is the current government that we're having today, come out and claim for, of course, for compensation for whatever they did during the war. Yes, kids, like Maria said, kids are very easy to manage, and of course, because kids can be easily convinced. Someone may tell a kid, in 2026 you'll be over 10 years of old, because these are totally young kids that are used in these wars. And whenever kids are traumatized, just like K. Williams said, it is very hard for these kids to have mercy. But
They can kill you for a small thing.
Yeah,
They don't need a big reason.
Mm.
And the moment this reason is about them. Alright.
So we see that
we have seen kids killing their dads because of being violent. And not that they are doing it willingly. But a child keeps on seeing the dad punching the mom all the time. I've seen that scenario where a child broke the father's spinal cord. He was young. But the dad, each time they would start fighting, they would start fighting each time, and the child was always watching. So this time the dad started strangling the mother when they were outside. So the mom couldn't talk, and the boy said, Dad is going to kill mom.
They are fighting aesthetic in Sina wano olugendo kunstuwiki era engendo zaawe tubeere kuwulira kitono system speakers
Speakers are using the other.
kano kekakozesa so So we see that the recruitment and use of child soldiers by the state and non-state actors remains a frequent occurrence in Africa, despite of the local and international efforts to combat the practice. So while eradicating the problem is of course ambitious, there are of course substantial opportunities to strengthen the ongoing efforts to reduce the frequency of the which children are recruited for armed conflicts. So we see that ongoing efforts to address the root cause of the conflict. We see that uh, uh, children recruitment by the armed militants and the state governments, of course, is a persistent issue. We see that despite of the 196 countries having ratified the Convention on the Rights of Children, and of course 172 having ratified the Operation Protocol on the involvement of children in the armed conflict, we see that children conflict zones still face the serious threat of recruitment by the state and non-state actors. This doesn't matter whether it is the state or of course non-state actors, whether it is the government recruiting these children or the rebels that are fighting different governments or civil wars. So talking about, we see that children have become over the past decade in Africa. We see that approximately 337 million children around the world resided within 50 kilometers. Sorry. So we see that 50 kilometers of the ongoing conflict, were at least one conflict actor was reported to have recruited children in the conflict. So in Africa specifically, some 118 million children were in such a position. So meaning about 1 in 6 were vulnerable to the recruitment of children into war activities. So such trends are alarming, as Africa is the world's youngest continent with roughly 40 percent of the population aged under 15. And by the way, these people normally target these people normally look at these kids that are under 15 to fight in a war, because at a time was in a war someone doesn't expect these kids to be fighting, doesn't have, they take these kids to be innocent about a lot of things. So the growing vulnerability of children coincides with increasing levels of violence in several countries across African continents. So this trend is especially true in the Sahel, where Islamist insurgencies have, of course, proliferated over the past decade. Just like I was talking about the recent attack in today's news, like 6 hours ago, it has been recorded that the attack has been recorded with a lot of children. I've seen a lot of kids under 15 fighting, bombing cities, and of course, refugee camps. So we see that West and Central Africa as the most recent, of course, epicenter of the children soldier recruitment, with the region having the highest number of verified cases of children recruitment between 2016 and 2024. So we see that countries such as Mali and Burkina Faso have been hit particularly hard as they struggle to combat the Al Qaeda and Islamic State affiliated groups. So, talking about children recruitment over several years, we see that in Burkina Faso, at least a quarter of all schools were closed as of October 2023 due to the armed groups' war against education. So, beyond the Sahel, Nigeria, Sudan, Southern Sudan, the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Somalia have also experienced persistent children soldier recruitment over the past decade. So, children recruitment is, of course, children recruitment is a global challenge, but the problem remains deep rooted in several African states despite decades of efforts to combat the practice. So we see that on the supply side, looking at soldier supply, children recruitment is of course a byproduct of adverse societal conditions such as limited education and unemployment opportunities. But unemployment opportunities, this is not something I can, because they are not concerned, they are not they are not entitled to work.
They are saying that parents are sending their children
For money.
for money, yeah.
So
Because there's a video I saw a woman who packed her child in a bag, in a paper bag, in a big Cavera, and was selling the child.
there's a lot of noise coming from it.
Who is it?
Cancel LGF noise. Kamani awo ndabe ekyokukola ebeerekaalo. Nateeka mubisimba ate sipiika nsome sipiika ate ga sipiika ngendeze ku sipiika. Hmm? Speed.
Again.
Hold them. Okay. Speed. Hivi shauri kuda. Sasa na yangu kile.
What's this?
Se. That was. The thing is such.
Check your mic. It's a little bit noise coming from me. The mic. So what's the call mic?
Like
So can I
uh-huh.
still live on? And really already can sit up.
I need to push this thing down faster.
Which one? Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Chini nako na to make it as big that I can raise that up. Nafikiri we hadi Microsoft katika ningekatutwala kadukikatu ye microphone kanakamka microphone
There's a speaker.
iliwewe yes segera sinamba densobola okusubira kano kokka but it's not
There is that cracking noise from our microphone. Of course, we are using the laptop microphone, and we don't know why. Maybe it's a mechanical issue. Our laptop is a little bit old. We've had it because we have opened two windows so we can hear, and we are trying to balance. But I think it's okay.
huh?
When we reduce the microphone, when we cut off that husk or that quacking or that when that when we reduce it, that and that means you may not be able to hear us speak. All right. So I think our microphone has a problem. So maybe it's a technical issue. Yeah.
Okay, car.
It's just okay for us to keep on talking with that. It doesn't make sense. Of course, it's disturbing the ears.
I hear it already.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry guys. To animation. Yeah, still. Let's just try to because there is no use of us talking to you guys with that weird. With that. DJ.
Eh?
DJ.
Njagala kusaba testinga mic. Ese oyo ebibaddeyo.
We just Oh, oh, why do you do that? Oh, oh. Jim Jabba, we are trying. We are trying. We, we are trying to. Of course, our mic is. On a Gambia, 100%.
What?
Jim Jabba is saying the mic is has that weird quacking sound. I don't know if I'm audible now. I'm not sure. But I think it is a technical problem and it is so just not right for us to keep talking when there is that cracking sound. It really sounds ugly. I've just listened in and it sounds very ugly. Okay, Jibjaba, um, how is the voice? Does it still have that cracking sound? And how is the cracking sound? Is it too much or something? Do you think we can still continue? Because I think we need to work on the laptop speakers. The static level is high. Yeah, I had that. I think the issues with our microphone, the microphone on the laptop. You know, we usually use the laptop microphone, and our laptop is really old for sure. I've had this laptop, I don't know, for a very long time. But yeah, what to do? We shall try at least maybe to see if we can, maybe over the weekend. And as we, of course, log out, we're going to try and see if I'll record you, I swear. I can't tell you the camera, no. So, I think we should end the show.
Can hear you, yes.
The static level is high. You said it. Yeah, sorry. This is a very moment. Umugambi omuyambi ntakusente tulina kutereeza omuzinga.
Ekyabutereeza.
Ampanika mwana
Teera mwena yakuwa.
nagenda ekituukayo nali mmanyi ebintu byamu. Lwaki tosaana mugamba kumi naawe tasaagiko.
So this is extremely terrible.
We are sorry. We have to end the show because